listeners, and welcome to episode 131 of the Nigerian Football Weekly podcast. I'm your host, Olu. Okay, and today I'll be talking about the latest developments concerning Nigerian football over the past week, including standout performance as usual. Also touching on the Nigeria versus Russia match updates, under 20 men's team and the under 17 women updates, some transfer rumors, the usual player reviews, Starboy of the week, and of course, rounding up the podcast with the ones to watch. So without any further ado, starting with the standout performances for the week, I have to start again with the one and only Victor James Osimhen of Galatasaray Football Club. Over the past week, we've seen him play 2 games for Galatasaray. Last week, Thursday, they beat Konyaspor 5-1 in the Turkish Cup semi-final. Osimhen got a goal and an assist in that game. And then over the weekend, they played Eyüpspor away as they continued their charge towards yet another Turkish league title. And they won 5-1 again, with Osimhen scoring a goal and getting an assist in this game. What can I say? Just phenomenal. When you look at the game against Konyaspor, yes, this is a team that they're expected to beat. But if you see the goals he scored as well, the first one, fantastic guided header after a cross by Dries Mertens. He just planted the ball straight into the left of the goalkeeper. The left-hand side of the post, so to the goalkeeper's right. Fantastic header. And then when you even watch the goals, after it was 1-0, Torreira's goal to make it 2-0. Osimhen first headed the ball, the goalkeeper saved it and pushed it out, and then Torreira smashed on the rebound to make it 2-0. Even the third goal, he then teed up Roland Salai, who scored a fantastic strike from outside the box. Osimhen was running with the ball and then laid it off to him, and then he took 3 steps and then banged the shot straight into the top corner of the net. Now he's on course for the double Galatasaray, and it's very likely that they'll get both. This means that they're 5 points ahead of Fenerbahce with 5 games to go. He has 31 goals and 7 assists, so 38 goal involvements in 36 games for Galatasaray, and he remains the top goal scorer. So everything we expected of someone like Osimhen playing in that league has pretty much come to pass. The game yesterday was such an eventful game. When you watch it, once again, he was involved in pretty much all their offensive actions. He could have had more. In the second minute of the game, Osimhen missed a sitter. He got squared, literally 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper, and he hit the ball against the post. So that was the first sign of what was to come in this game. And then after that, he pretty much got the assist for the opener. His header there was a Galatasaray corner. He headed the ball and it looked like it was going into the back of the net. But it's one of those chances that a player has to just tap it in just to be sure and to make sure that the opponents do not kick the ball out. So that's exactly how the first goal got scored, because Roland Zala yet again was able to stab home from close range. Even the second goal scored by Torreira in this game, it was yet again a flick from Osimhen, which was hard to deal with by the Eyüpspor defender. Yet another corner. Next thing you know, the ball fell to Torreira, who then volleyed it in to make it 2-0. He then scored a fantastic goal to make it 3-0. After 70 minutes, it took the ball spectacularly from a Morata pass. And he pretty much, for lack of a better word, he heightened the defender. In Nigeria, where you have the ball up. And he just heightened the defender and banged the shot straight. But then the defender managed to block it. But then the ball fell straight to his lap again. And then he just smashed it into the bottom right corner to make it 3-0. So just fantastic for him. And then Morata wrapped up the game by scoring 2 late goals towards the end of the game to make it 5-1. So once again, very impressive for Victor Osimhen. Best performer as far as I'm concerned when it comes to Super Eagles players over the past week. And once again, one to monitor for the summer. So that's Osimhen. Also, I wanted to shout out Nathan Tella, who continues to go from strength to strength for Bayer Leverkusen. Over the weekend, he was in action for Bayer Leverkusen in a 2-0 win over Orban, which Frank Rijeka plays for. He got an assist in the 13th minute. He laid the ball up for Patrick Schick, who took 1 step and then banged this fantastic shot with his left foot straight into the top corner to make it 1-0 for Bayer Leverkusen. Also, Tella had the ball in the back of the net in the 24th minute and had a very good celebration, but unfortunately it was disallowed after a VAR check. So very, very fantastic game overall for him. He even played a part in the second goal. He played the initial cross to the box. The Orban defenders tried to clear the ball, and then Emilio Buendia, formerly of Aston Villa, then shot the ball from the edge of the box straight to the corner, into the bottom corner of the net to make it 2-0. So really good to see Tella performing at the highest level level, and he continues to go from strength to strength. It'll be interesting to see what happens if Xabi Alonso moves to Real Madrid in terms of Tella's continued development, but I think he'll definitely stay in Leverkusen for one more season at the very least. We can't really say the same for Boniface at the moment, who has turned into a bit of a bench warmer of recent. Also, I want to shout out Cyriel Dessers. He scored his 24th goal of the season on Sunday. He initially missed a very, very clear-cut chance one-on-one, and he just fluffed his lines and skied the ball. But his goal was pretty good. He took it with his left foot. He had about 4 defenders from St. Mirren in front of him, and he banged the ball straight into the bottom right corner of the goal to the goalkeeper's left. So really good. Unfortunately, Rangers did not win the game. They drew 2-2 against St. Mirren, and of course, Celtic have clinched the title, so it's their 50th league title, which draws them level with Rangers on 50-50 each. But anyway, Dessers should be aiming for his 25th goal of the season, which would be a good achievement for him, and let's see what happens. I think he's quietly in the right level for his current level, but let's see. Also, shout out to Alex Iwobi, continues to go from strength to strength. Fulham beat Southampton 2-1 over the weekend with a last-minute winner by Ryan Sessegnon. Fantastic goal with his head after a cross by Adama Traore. But what I like about Alex Iwobi is he got his 6th assist of the season in this game. Initially, Calvin Bassey got the ball and then passed it to Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi then played a sumptuous ball into the box for Emil Smith-Rowe to take on his feet. And then Emil Smith-Rowe shot the ball, but it got deflected and then into the back of the net past Aaron Ramsdale. So it's arguably his best season so far when we look at the Premier League. He's now got 9 goals and 6 assists, 15 goal involvements playing for Fulham, who are mid-table. They've left it a bit too short to be able to make like the Europa League, but still an impressive season for Fulham, and they should clock over 50 points, which is no mean feat for a team of Fulham's size. Also, let's see if Alex Iwobi can get into double figures in Premier League goals, which I think would be an incredible achievement considering his position and the team he plays for. Also, I just want to shout out Chuba Akpom. He started for Lille and got an assist for them with a really, really good pass into the path of Icelandic striker Haraldsson to make it 2-0 at the start of the second half. In this game, he also missed a sitter from Plumback Ridge in the first half, which was unfortunate, but good to see him, at least getting some positive performances down his belt as Lille still push towards making a Champions League spot, and they're currently 3rd in the league. You have about 5 teams separated by like 2 points, so it's going to be a shootout to the death in League One over the final 3 games of the season. Also, shout out to Tolu Arokodare, who scored his 20th league goal of the season for Genk during the week on Wednesday. It's unfortunate they couldn't get the win in that game. Genk have stuttered a little bit over the past week, but it's still impressive that he's the top goal scorer in the division, and it's no mean feat. You can't really argue about his performances, and there's no better striker than him in the Belgian division this season. So one to monitor for the summer, and let's see what happens for the recently capped Super Eagles International. Also, I want to shout out Bruno Onyemaechi. He's continued to start games for Olympiacos and looks to be gaining favour as first choice left back for the team. He kept yet another clean sheet over the weekend as Olympiacos beat AEK Athens 2-0. And he could be winning yet another trophy in a few weeks when they play the final of the Greek Cup. Long may the success continue for Onyemaechi. This is exactly what I want to see. Someone that would have been in a relegation battle with Boavista, but now, he's getting some silverware to shine and show off. So fantastic achievement for him. Also, congratulations to Igoh Ogbu of Slavia Prague, recently capped Super Eagles defender. Slavia Prague won the Czech Republic League over the weekend after a 5-0 win over their opponents. Really, really good to celebrate our players winning silverware. It's one of the major things every player wishes for in their career, and they don't come that often, so you have to celebrate these moments. And then also, I wanted to shout out a Nigeria-eligible player, Arthur Okonkwo, whose side Wrexham secured promotion into the championship. Obviously, we know goalkeeper is the weakest position we have in the squad, but Maduka Okoye and Saino Abali are definitely our best 2 goalkeepers. But Arthur Okonkwo is one to watch. He's a better goalkeeper than League One. He's the highest paid player in Wrexham, and now they've promoted to the championship. All of you that watch movies, Ryan Reynolds and Rob, I've forgotten the guy's surname. They own Wrexham. They've had 3 straight back-to-back promotions in 3 seasons. So look out for this guy. He can play for Nigeria. He's 23 years old. He played 32 games this season and registered 18 clean sheets, and while also being Player of the Month in March. So let's see how Wrexham perform in the championship, and maybe potentially could even be someone that we end up calling up into the Super Eagles fold. So that's it in terms of stand-up performances for the week. Quickly, I want to just touch on a few transfer rumours. Fabrizio Romano seems to talk about Victor Osimhen every week, every day. So I want to keep it short. We keep hearing these unflattering rumors from England about Osimhen's wage demands and attitude, which is just rubbish. If Napoli could pay the salary he's on, then there's no way none of the big clubs in England could pay it. And look at all the players that all our clubs are paying stupendous wages to without even the performances to back it up. So don't come and tell me that Osimhen will not be signed unless he reduces his wages. He has already achieved enough in his career. Last, he'll go to Saudi. I don't know why Premier League clubs are making it seem like they're doing Osimhen a favor. Meanwhile, they need him. Look at the way he's performing and look at what he could bring to a lot of our teams. If you're not Manchester City or who else in the top 5 is not looking for a striker, only Man City. Liverpool need a striker. Arsenal need a striker. Man United definitely need a striker. Chelsea definitely need a striker. And Osimhen is too good for Tottenham as far as I'm concerned. So I hate all this rubbish nonsense they were seeing, but it's definitely one to monitor over the summer. We already know that he's not going to be able to remain in Galatasaray because they can't afford his wages. We know that whoever signs him probably have to pay Napoli in the region of 75 million euros. So look out for that one. But we know that Napoli are eager to get rid as soon as possible just to help with their planning for next season. Although it looks like they're in the driving seat to win Serie now after Scott McTominay's brace yesterday for Napoli against Torino, especially because Inter lost at the San Siro to Roma. So watch this space. There's interest from Saudi, Italy, maybe Juventus, I don't know. But to be honest, clubs have to match his salary expectations. He's not reducing his salary and he should not. You don't ask star players to reduce their salary. Why is it that one time he's an African, he should not reduce his wages? What the hell is that rubbish? What the hell? Nonsense. So watch this space anyway for Osimhen. Arokodare, we also heard, we saw a tweet from OJB Sports, someone I respect hugely, about possible interest from Bayern Munich as their backup striker. I wouldn't look too much into this, but let's see what happens with him in the summer. I'm not quite sure he's Bayern Munich level, but he's definitely good enough, at least from what we've seen, to play in a top 5 league. But I always stress that players should go where they're sure that they will start, especially coming off the back of the season where he's likely to end up as the top goal scorer in Belgium. Also, Nigeria versus Russia update. We know that Russia announced the friendly recently, which is still scheduled for June the 6th. It will take place in the Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow. I believe this is the same stadium that we beat Argentina 4-2 in 2017, where Anacho scored the free kick, and Iwobi also scored, and Brian Idowu as well. Fantastic performance for Nigeria. We've still not seen any statements, particularly from the NFF on this fixture, and we know it will not count towards FIFA games. However, the games against Ghana and the potential game against Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago should count towards our FIFA points. So look out for that one. So let's see what happens with the Super Eagles and these games to look forward to. If you don't have a ticket yet, go and get a ticket for the Unity Cup game taking place against Ghana on Wednesday, May 28th. So pretty much in exactly 4 weeks. In exactly 1 month from today, because today is April 28th. So look out for that one. Also, I just wanted to touch on the Under-17 women's team. They've officially qualified for the World Cup, which is scheduled to take place in October 17th to November 8th in Morocco. Morocco leading the scene in Africa yet again. Nigeria beat Algeria 4-0 on aggregates. We won the first leg 4-0 in Ikene. And then over the weekend, we drew 0-0 on Friday in Algeria. So pretty routine win, and congratulations to the girls. And we wish them all the success as they get to the World Cup. Also, the Under-20 men's national team, they beat Egypt ahead of the upcoming tournament over the weekend. We beat Egypt 2-1 in Cairo, so beating them on their home turf is always a good sign. We know that the tournament's pretty much scheduled to kick off ASAP. So our first game will be this Thursday. We play Tunisia. It's always good when you've beaten the host Egypt in Cairo. And then our next game will be against Morocco on Sunday, which will probably be the toughest of tests, considering how Morocco's underage groups have been performing both in the men's and women's game in the past 2-3 years. And then finally, we'll play Kenya next week, Wednesday. So let's just say we need to do well against Tunisia. Kenya may be a routine game, just judging by the crop of talent they have, but it's under 20, so you never know who's coming. But we'll do our best to bring you updates on how the games go. And then finally, in terms of major updates, I just wanted to congratulate Remo Stars Remo Stars are officially the NPFL champions. They have won the championship for the first time in their history after a 1-0 win over Niger Tornadoes over the weekend, courtesy of a goal by Olamilekan Adedayo. Congratulations to Remo Stars. Very, very amazing achievements. They played 35 games. They won 21 of those games, drew 5 games, and only lost 9. The key thing here is the ability to win games, because while they've lost the same number of games as River United in second place, they've been able to win 21 out of the 35 games compared to Rivers United, who only won 16 and drew 10 games. So with 3 games to go, they have a 10-point lead, which is insurmountable, and they're officially champions. So congratulations to the coach, who's also one of the assistant managers for the Super Eagles, Daniel Ogumodede. Very, very fantastic achievements. I think it's also worth calling out the fact that Remo Stars are a privately owned football club. They're not like the Imbas or Rivers United of the world, who are bankrolled by the local governments of their respective states. So really, really incredible achievement for them. Shout out to Andy Okpe. OKPE. He's the top goal scorer for Remo Stars with 13 goals for the season, and also Sikiru Alimi, who has 8 goals. Also, Tolu Ojo was able to chime in with 4 goals for the season. And of course, remember, they have the Super Eagles goalkeeper Kayode Bankole in goal. So congratulations to him, and also Sodiq Ismail, the right back who made a few caps for the Super Eagles and continues to flourish as their right back. So what's next for Remo Stars? We eagerly await how they could do next season in terms of getting into the Champions League, the CAF Champions League group stages. We know a Nigeria team still hasn't made this group stage since the 2019 season, so it'll be interesting to see how they can perform and if they'll be able to finally break this hoodoo and make it into the group stage, which would be an incredible achievement for an NPFL team. And let's see how much they can hold on to their players over the summer, because when you're a team in the NPFL, considering the lack of funds and how little prize money you win compared to the Egyptian clubs or the South African clubs, it's always a good opportunity to cash in on your star talent, who clubs in Europe will probably be looking to hover up. So watch out for that space. So that's it in terms of the major updates. Please, if you've gotten this far in the video, I just want to thank you for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please continue to like the videos and share with your friends. It helps the algorithm. It helps us to get more exposure and to bring more people to watch, this content, which we're trying to do from, just our love and our passion for the Super Eagles and all things Nigeria football. So thank you again, everybody. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Moving on to the player reviews, and unfortunately for Nottingham Forest, Aina still injured, but Taiwo only played 19 minutes yesterday as they unfortunately lost 2-0 to Manchester City in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. Nottingham Forest hit the post 3 times, so it's just very unlucky for them. And this is one of those games I just have to say, experience told. Man City are perennial semi-finalists, finalists in the FA Cup, and that know-how just told in this game. But the good thing for Nottingham Forest is with 4 games to go, 5 in their case, because they have to play a game on Thursday, they have all to play for. Their Champions League dream is still alive, and one achievement it will be if Nottingham Forest can pull off, one of the upsets of the season and make the Champions League round. They're still on course to finish 3rd. They play Brentford at home on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. And if they win that game, they'll go back to 3rd place, and they'll only be 4 points behind Arsenal, who are 2nd. After that, they play Crystal Palace next week, Monday, in the Monday Night Football game at Sellers Park. So watch out for that. I already spoke about the achievements of the Fulham boys beating Southampton over the weekend. Both Bassey and Iwobi started the game as usual. Next up for them, they go to Villa Park on Saturday, 12:30 early kickoff in the game. Speaking of Southampton, Aribo was an unused sub on the bench for that game, and Onuachu missed the game due to an ankle injury. He's expected back in late May, so maybe he may play 1 or 2 more games for Southampton, but watch this space. And let's see if Aribo plays in Southampton's next game when they face Leicester away on Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff. Speaking of Leicester, same thing I say every week. They lost 3-0 to Wolves. Matthias Cunha is a baller. Strand Larsen is a baller. Leicester are absolutely useless. They're already going down. Jamie Vardy has mentioned that he's leaving. If I'm for Ndidi, I'll be engaging my agents because I cannot play Championship again. So watch this space. But at least Ndidi played the match. So yeah, that's it in terms of the Premier League reviews. Other games to be aware of in terms of the Premier League. We had midweek games with Man City beating Aston Villa 2-1 last week, courtesy of a last-minute goal by Nick. Was it Nick O'Reilly that scored a last-minute goal? They should have scored a last-minute goal last week, Tuesday. Arsenal drew Crystal Palace 2-2 on Wednesday. Jean-Philippe Mateta scoring one of the goals of the season. It's safe to say that my club, we're focusing on the Champions League, and tomorrow is the big one against PSG, so look out for that one. Also, Also, Chelsea beat Everton 1-0. Nicholas Jackson with a pretty good goal. Newcastle beats Ipswich Town 3-0. Great goals by Isak, William Osula, and I've forgotten who scored the second goal. Brighton beat West Ham 3-2. They were 2-1 down after 84 minutes. They scored 2 goals towards the end of the game, including an absolutely incredible goal by Kolas Paleba, the Cameroonian midfielder. Go and watch that goal if you have not seen it. And then he had so much energy. You see the kind of backflip he did. It was just fantastic to see. Also, Man United drew 1-1 against Bournemouth yesterday. Rasmus Højlund scored a last-minute equalizer to spare United's blushes. And of course, we have to praise Liverpool, who have officially been crowned the Premier League champions for the second time in their history, and their 20th league title overall, which has put them level on total league titles won with Manchester United 2020 apiece. They thrashed Tottenham Hotspur 5-1 yesterday at Anfield for what was one of the biggest parties in Anfield history, with them clinching the league title yet again, which is just their second in 35 years. So congratulations to Liverpool. Well deserved. They've blown every single team out of the water this season and be the best team in the league by far. Of course, every player has played their part, but Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk have to be called out, especially for their contributions to this win for Liverpool. And of course, Arne Slot for winning the Premier League at the first time of asking in the Prem. And this is, mind you, they only signed Federico Chiesa in the summer. So Arsenal, we can't even complain about signings. So anyway, shout out to Liverpool and well done for the win. If you play FPL, please note that there's a Premier League match this Friday. Man City play Wolves, so do your FPL before Friday. Aston Villa play Fulham on Saturday. Fixtures to be aware about. Leicester Southampton 3 p.m. kickoff. Everton play Ipswich Town at Goodison Park 3 p.m. kickoff as well. Arsenal play Brighton 5:30 p.m. kickoff. But honestly, our minds are going to be on PSG. So fingers crossed we can get a lead tomorrow when PSG come to the Emirates. On Sunday, we'll see Brighton play Newcastle at home in 2 p.m. kickoff. Brentford hosts Man United as well. And West Ham hosts Tottenham, all 2 p.m. kickoffs, and then Chelsea hosts Liverpool at Stamford Bridge 4:30 p.m. as they look to consolidate Champions League spot, while they have to give a guard of honor to Liverpool, which is just the right thing to do before the Monday night football between Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. So as I said, league table, Liverpool are champions. It's 2 points after 34 games. They could still end the season with 94 points. So just a phenomenal achievement from the Merseyside team. Arsenal were second, were 67 points, too far behind. 13 draws for the season, just shameful. Newcastle at the moment are 5 points behind us with 62 points. Man City 61 points. Chelsea and Nottingham Forest are 5th and 6th with 60 points each. And then Aston Villa have 57 points. So it's pretty much a 5-team shootout for 3 spots. As I said, if Nottingham Forest win on Thursday, they will go back to 3rd place, 1 point above Newcastle. So watch this spot. All the relegation teams have been confirmed, so nothing new to note in terms of the league table. Moving on to Serie, we saw Demola Lookman play 90 minutes as Atalanta drew 1-1 against Lecce on Sunday. They remain 3rd, but they need to consolidate their spot over the remaining 4 fixtures. Next up for them, they play Monza away on Sunday, 2 p.m. kickoff. As of Dele-Bashiru, he was on the bench as they beat Genoa 2-0 Lazio on Wednesday. Lazio are currently playing Parma. That game will kick off literally in 22 minutes, and I know for a fact that he's on the bench. As for Samuel Chukwueze, he's been on the bench for all the games for AC Milan recently. They beat Inter Milan 3-0 surprisingly in the second leg of the Coppa Italia semi-final on Wednesday, so AC Milan will play Bologna in the final of the Coppa Italia. Also on the weekend, Milan beat Venezia 2-0. Once again, Samuel Chukwueze was an unused sub. Chukwueze is one of those players to monitor over the summer because while he's not playing games and you think he will be ripe for a move, we also know that the interim manager, Sergio Conceição, is likely to leave AC Milan over the summer, and we may see Massimo Allegri come back in for Milan. So watch this space. You never know. He may find favor again with the new manager. But I think the more concerning trend we've seen with Chukwueze is over the past 4 seasons, we haven't really seen much development in his game in terms of adding new features to his arsenal. Can you go with your left? Can you go with your right foot, not just your left foot? Can you improve your crossing ability? Can you show better decision making? Can you know the right time to dribble, the right time to take a shot, the right time to pass, the right time to bring your fullback into play? These are not things that we've seen improvements in Chukwueze's game since he won the Europa League with Villarreal 4 seasons ago. So quite concerning, but hey, that's the difference between good players and great players when it comes to the top echelon of European football. As for Maduka Okoye, played 90 minutes and made 2 saves for Udinese in their 2-0 loss to Torino on Wednesday. And earlier today, their game against Bologna just ended. He kept another clean sheet in a 0-0 draw against Bologna. He only had one one save to make because Bologna only made one shot on target. But getting a clean sheet is always a positive. So next up for him, he plays Cagliari away on Saturday. And then shout out to Aribo. He played 62 minutes for Empoli as they lost 5-1 on aggregate and 2-1 on the day in the Coppa Italia semi-final against Bologna. However, he was not in the squad for Sunday's 2-1 loss to Fiorentina yesterday. Let's see if he'll be fit for their game against Lazio at home on Sunday. Empoli remain 19th, 2 points off safety with 4 games to go. So it's very crucial that they start getting some wins on the board unless they will go down to Serie B. In the Bundesliga, I've already spoken about Nathan Tella's exploits over the weekend as they beat Orban 2-0. Victor Boniface was on unused sub for this match. Unfortunately, next up for them, they play Freiburg away on Sunday. So let's see if Boniface will get some minutes under his belt in this match. Frank Rijeka, of course, played in that game for Auberg, playing on 90 minutes as we've come to expect. But let's see if his fortunes will be better when they play Holstein Kiel at home on Sunday. As for Gift Orban, he was also on a new sub for Hoffenheim, while Kevin Akpoguma played 30 minutes but was taken off due to an injury as they lost 3 to Borussia Dortmund on Saturday. Next up for them, they play Mönchengladbach away on Saturday, and they should just about be safe from relegation, but it's quite alarming that Gift Orban is not getting minutes. There's something wrong with his professionalism for sure, because this is not the first time, this is not the second time, this is not the third time something like this is happening to Gift Orban in the team he plays for. Moving on to La Liga, Christian Uche is serving his ban. Getafe lost 1-0 to Real Madrid over the week before Real Madrid, of course, threw a temper tantrum as Barcelona rightfully beat them 3-2 in the Copa del Rey final on Saturday. He will also miss the game against Rayo Vallecano on Friday, so watch this space for when next Christian Uche is back. Omar Sadiq was also suspended for Valencia's match against Espanyol on Tuesday, which ended in a 1-1 draw, but he should be back for their game against Las Palmas away on Saturday. That'll be a tough game because Las Palmas have been winning a few games recently as they also tried to stave off relegation and going back to the Spanish Segunda. As for Chidera Juke, he was on the bench for Sevilla in their 1-0 loss to Osasuna on Thursday. Sevilla need to be very, very careful because they are 5 points above the relegation zone with only 5 games to go. And in their last 6 games, they've drawn 1 and lost 5 games. So Valencia and Getafe are 7 points above the relegation zone as well. So let's see what happens in Sevilla's next game when they play Leganés at home on Sunday. In League One, Moses Simon was in action as Nons drew 1 against PSG on Tuesday. He then played 66 minutes as Nons kept a clean sheet but drew 0-0 against Toulouse on Sunday. They're also pretty close to relegation, but hopefully they should be able to survive. They're currently 14th in the 18-team league. So let's see how Nons get on when they play Angers at home on Sunday. Hafiz Ibrahim continues to get minutes for Reims, the Nigerian striker, 19-year-old. They drew 0-0 against Montpellier and he played 31 minutes. Let's see if he can get a bit more game time when they play Nice away on Friday. As for George Elinkena, he was not in the squad for Monaco in their 1-1 draw against Le Havre on Saturday. And let's see if he plays a part when they play Saint-Etienne away on Saturday. As for Chuba Akpom, I already spoke about his assist in their 2-0 win over Angers. Let's see if he gets some game time or even starts when they play Marseille at home on Sunday. That'll be a straight shootout between second and third as both teams look to consolidate their spot in the Champions League. Remember, League One only get 3 spots based on their coefficient, so it's very, very important that they at least try and win this game against Marseille. Hamza Jadira was not in the squad for Lens in their 4-0 loss to Auxerre. Let's see if he gets some minutes when they play Lyon away on Sunday. While Terry Murphy was an unused sub as Nice beat PSG 3-1 on Friday, which means that PSG's unbeaten record in League One has now gone. Nonsted's 2-game record unbeaten, which took place in the 90s, will continue to remain in League One. But of course, PSG have bigger fish to fry playing Arsenal tomorrow, so look out for that one. As for Nice, their next game will be against Hafiz Ibrahim's Reims on Friday, so look out for that game. In the Turkish League, I already spoke about Victor Osimhen's exploits over the weekend and the whole week. Next up for his team, they play Sivasspor at home on Saturday as they inch closer to yet another Turkish League title, which would be a wonderful way for Osimhen to sign off from the Turkish Giants. Osayi-Samuel was on new sub for Fenerbahce as they beat Gaziantep 3-1 on Saturday, so they remain 5 points behind Galatasaray. And next up for them, they have a big one against Besiktas at home on Sunday, which they need to win to stay within touching distance to Galatasaray. As for Anthony Dennis of Godsepe, he played 90 minutes as Godsepe lost 2-0 to Trabzonspor in the Turkish Cup semi-finals. Anthony Nakwaeme actually got an assist in this game for Trabzonspor. So that means Osimhen's Galatasaray will play Nwakaeme's Trabzonspor in the Turkish Cup final, which will, of course, bring you the updates there. And earlier today, Giuseppe are 3-0 up against Istanbul Basaksehir. Anthony Dennis started the game as usual, which is, pretty impressive for Giuseppe. And next up for them, they'll play Demirspor away on Sunday. While David Okereke was not in the squad for Gaziantep's 3-1 loss to Fenerbahce on Saturday. But let's see if he'll be back in the squad when they play Rizespor away on Saturday. Zedu Sanusi continues to be a bench warmer for Porto. They did lose 2-0 to Estrela de Amadora, which just shows you how bad things have gotten for Porto. They're fourth in the league. They're below even Braga. Meanwhile, Benfica and Sporting Lisbon are having a straight shootout for who's going to be crowned Portuguese champions for the season. So really disappointing season for Porto, and even more disappointing for Sanusi, who's not getting minutes. So let's see if his fortune will turn in the final games of the season, starting with their game against Moreirense at home on Friday. In the Belgian league, I already spoke about Tolu Arokodare's exploits, of course. One thing to mention, they did lose 1-0 to Royal Antwerp over the weekend. Next up with them, they play Union Saint-Gilloise away on Saturday, as it's a straight shootout between Union Saint-Gilloise, Genk and Club Brugge for the Belgian league title. Speaking of Rafael Yedika and Club Brugge, he played 88 minutes as Club Brugge lost 1-0 to Union Saint-Gilloise on Thursday at home. And then he played 90 minutes as they drew 0-0 to the same opponent on Sunday away. So Union Saint-Gilloise currently have the edge. However, next up for Yedika, his team plays Ghent at home on Thursday and then Anderlecht on Sunday. I just wanted to also mention that Tolu Arokodare and Yedika have both been nominated for the Ebony Shoe Award in Belgium. This award is given to the best African player or African origin player in Belgium's top football league. The last time this Ebony Shoe Award was won by Nigerian was when Onuachu had his unbelievable season for Genk in 2021. Some other Nigerians that have won this trophy include Amokachi, Ikpeba, Godwin Okpara, and Celestine Babayaro. So the award is decided by league coaches, the Belgium national team manager, sports journalists, and one or more honorary jurors. So it's very likely Arokodare may win this trophy or award, but it could also go to Onyedika. So congratulations to both of these players, and I'm intrigued to see where they end up in the summer. In the Greek league, Bruno Onyemaechi, as already mentioned, continues to play well and start games and kept here another clean sheet. Next up for them, they play Pauga home on Sunday, and then they have their next most important game against OFI Crete in the Greek Cup final, which will taking place on the 17th of March. I already spoke about Cyriel Dessers' exploits for Rangers and their 2-2 goals against St. Mirren. Celtic have now won the league, of course. And next up for Rangers, they get to play Celtic at home on Sunday, 12 p.m. kickoff. So it's just a routine game. See if Rangers can somehow end up second. And in South Africa, Normally did not have a game over the weekend, but his team Chippa United will be in action against Stellenbosch away on Wednesday before they play SuperSport United away on Saturday over the weekend. Starboy of the week. This week, I want to give the bronze medal to Tolu Arokodare. Even though his team did not win or they're not playing well, when you score 20 league goals in any league in Europe, especially one of the top 10, it's something that has to be celebrated. Tolu Arokodare remains the top goal scorer in the league, and he's finally clinched 20 goals for the season. So shout out to him for an amazing achievement. He gets the bronze medal. Silver medal this weekend, I'm going to give it to Alex Iwobi. Very important assist for Fulham. Great ball to Emil Smith-Rowe, who then put the ball in the back of the net. Iwobi continues to go from strength to strength. Yet another assist. 9 goals and 6 assists for the season in the Premier League. 15 goal contributions is no easy feat. He could even still get into double figures for goals. But once again, an amazing season for Alex Iwobi, and he deserves the silver medal for this past week. Gold medal for this week, once again, star striker, star player for the Nigerian national team, Victor James Osimhen. He's like a one-man army for Galatasaray. Yes, they have all these amazing players, but you still need your sniper, your big shooter. And that's exactly what Victor Osimhen has become for Galatasaray. 2 back-to-back 5-1 wins over the past week. Getting a goal and an assist in both games and being a constant menace and also being involved in terms of these goals being scored. Even the ones where he didn't officially get a goal contribution, you can see Osimhen's footprints across these goals. So what an amazing performer. 31 goals, 7 assists in 36 matches, including 21 league goals, and he's the top goal scorer. So what an amazing season he's having in Turkey, and long may it continue, and I hope he gets to finish the season very, very strongly. So gold medal, Victor Osimhen, you get the gold medal this this week. Just to round up the podcast with the ones to watch, remember on Thursday, Aina, if he's fit, will be involved, but Taiwo Awoniyi's Nottingham Forest plays Brentford at home. They've got a chance to go back to third place in the Premier League. And then over the weekend, on Saturday, we'll see more Premier League games. Alex Iwobi and Calvin Bassey's Fulham go away to Villa Park to play Aston Villa in the early kickoff on Saturday. Maduka Okoye's Udinese go away to play Cagliari, 2 p.m. kickoff. And then we'll see the battle of the relegated sides with Wilfred Ndidi's Leicester playing against Aribo Southampton in a 3 p.m. kickoff. And then Victor Osimhen will be in action on Saturday, 5 p.m. as Galatasaray continue their march towards the Turkish League title when they host Sivasspor at home, 5 p.m. On Sunday, we'll see Tarnebo's Empoli as they try to stave off relegation, host Dele-Bashiru's Lazio, who are trying to get into the Champions League spots. So that should be an interesting game with two teams who have different ambitions but still need to play their best for the rest of the season. Ademar Lookman's Atalanta will be in action away against Monza as they also look to consolidate third place in Serie A. And then we'll see Chuba Akpom's Lille host Marseille in a straight shootout for Champions League spots, second against third. So look out for that one. And then on Monday, we'll see Nottingham Forest in action again. If I know it's fits, they go away to Sellers Park to play Crystal Palace, who will be buzzing after making the FA Cup final on Saturday after their 3-0 thrashing of Aston Villa. So that's it for this episode of the podcast. Thanks again for rocking with me. Once again, I want to appreciate a big thank you to every single listener. I do not take this for granted. It's not easy to produce this content and go, write the information, source the information, double check the information, write it out in the right format, come and bring it to you, record the visuals, try to get it up in a timely manner for you, put it on YouTube, put it on DSP. And shout out to my colleague Emeka and my cousin who helps with all the editing of these videos. Once again, remember we're Nigeria Football Weekly on all social media channels except on Twitter where we're at NFWPOD. I once again want to appreciate every single listener. Please continue to like, share and subscribe and spread the word. Leave a comment. I'm always keen to read your comments and get feedback on what you like to see. But once again, enjoy the football. And for my fellow Arsenal fans, tomorrow's the big game. Enjoy the ride. It's not every day we get to watch Champions League semi-finals at the Emirates Stadium. So fingers crossed that the boys do us justice, and I'll have a positive update to report next week, Monday, in episode 132. Thanks again to every single listener, and until next time, enjoy the football over the coming week. Peace out and take care. Ciao, ciao. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigerian they ever carry last.